A pastoral life at the foot of the Tian Shan Mountains. It's known for its idyllic beauty. It's home to some 50 ethnic groups and diverse religions. This is Xinjiang, China's westernmost region. It's been a meeting place for diverse cultures since ancient times. Its name, New Frontier, is reflected in many ways. Protecting tradition amid modernization.
Bizning shu ko'z yoshli yashig'inimiz shu havoda erkin parvoz qilayotgan kaptaydek yashagandek bo'lamiz bu yerda yashasaq.
China's determination to root out poverty.
Var can baksak, aşı can baksak iş var. Yerden de çarpıdı şokunu tutmuyor. Ayakta biz ya yerde işini kalmayalım dedim de.
The tough road to education for all.
我希望在越偏远的地方，他们都能够享受到最优质的教育资源。
The economic ties along the new Silk Road.
希望呢，通过这几年的努力，把我们最好的酒呢也卖到国外去。
And it's also the frontier of China's fight against extremism and terrorism. Incomplete statistics show from 1990 to 2016, thousands of terrorist attacks had been launched in Xinjiang, killing large numbers of innocent people and hundreds of police officers. But most of the cases have not been previously made public due to the government's security concerns. In fact, terrorists have struck all across Xinjiang and far beyond. Among some of the worst incidents, the 1997 Yining terror attack, which left 7 dead and 198 wounded. The 2009 Urumqi riots, which left 197 dead and over 1,700 wounded. And the 2013 Salik Buyel attack, which left 15 dead and 2 wounded. The police have reviewed more evidence about the 2009 riots in Urumqi. Experts say the factors in the violence are complicated and have left wounds in the different ethnic groups.
我作为一个宗教界的人士，我认为这个事情是有阴谋的，有这么一个策划的，对我们伊斯兰教是无关的。 对我们民族也是无关的这么一个大规模的一个暴恐案件。
无论用哪一个标准来衡量，那么2009年的75事件呢，依然是典型的大规模的恐怖袭击事件。
Some Western countries spread the idea that the 2009 Urumqi riots were ethnic clashes and repression. Chinese experts say that's illogical, given the 9/11 attacks. The anti-China interpretation shows the double standard adopted by some.
What happened in 2009 definitely was not isolated because the whole world was caught in a grip of terrorism, especially following the attack on neighboring Afghanistan by the Soviet Union. And in order to counter that, the Americans, they invited Muslims from all over the world, imbibed in them the spirit of jihad.
Chinese experts say the July 5th incident has strengthened international terrorist support in Xinjiang. It also marked an expansion of the type of attacks, and not only in Xinjiang. This security video shows how Mashhad welding terrorists from Xinjiang attacked commuters in southwest China's Yunnan province at the Kunming railway station in March 2014. They killed 31 people and wounded over 140.
一路挨着看，看起出来之后，然后跑到底下，跑到那个出站口的底下那个包包，然后跑转来，那就这么长的刀子拿着走，好像是。
transport hubs have the highest crowd density in modern societies. The aim is to cause maximum casualties and panic to achieve political ends. 2 months after the Kunming incident, 5 terrorists rammed their vehicles into shoppers at the morning market in Xinjiang's regional capital Urumqi, setting off explosives. They killed 39 people and wounded 94.
精酿三角旗子是黑色的吗？是啥？反正就是车是那种越野车，是越野车。我早上就就是他这样子直直的就这样子往过冲嘛，最后紧跟着后面一辆车也是那样直直的往前冲去。哎呦，我说不好，出事了，出事了！紧接着我就掉头往回跑，就听见爆炸声，砰砰爆炸声。
后面又跟了一辆车，哦，人直接跟了，把一个老爷子给飞起来了，太可怕了。
快离远点！它这油箱子在着火，马上快爆炸了，快离远点！快，2个油箱都在着火。
2014 saw a third attack in July in Yurkan County, causing multiple deaths and casualties. A truck driver hit his wife in the back seat. She was lucky and escaped. He did not.
你们还有人吗？你们有没有人？还有没有人了？你们一共几个人？我们这里4个人，就
Mayli hanzu bolsun, mayli uyg'ur bolsun, er ayol bolsun, kichik bolsun, hammani o'ltirgan bu endi. Endi bo'lg'achqa buni bizmi chin qalbimizni qarshi turamiz bunga. Qo'llamaymiz bu ishni. Bunda inson qalbidan chiqqan terrorchini qo'llamaymiz.
Security has been on high alert outside the region, especially since the attacks by Xinjiang terrorists at Tiananmen Square in 2013 and the Kunming railway station in 2014. The horrific images and alarming number of violent crimes reveal the seriousness of the security situation in China's western frontier. The unpredictability of the attacks creates a mindset in which panic takes root. And that's exactly what happened on March 14, 2015 in downtown Urumqi.
害怕不是有75嘛那个嘛，75那个事嘛，就是有那个乌鲁木齐不是有那个有好多人有那个阴影嘛。
电梯是下着，人都从反着往上爬着跑。我们在3楼不知道怎么回事，那人就哗啦，有些人鞋子掉了呀，那整个这边乱七八糟的。
不停的都往外跑，但是对我们的意识就是别人跑我们就跑，也不知道发生啥。
Investigation showed that a quarrel threw bystanders into a panic and a stampede ensued. This was not an isolated incident. The unrest in Xinjiang drew great attention in both China and the international community. As the violence continued, the government intensified control. But it stressed counterterrorism does not target any specific region, ethnic group, or religion. This is a video of a wedding in Luntai County in northwest China's Xinjiang. The girl who is dancing is the groom's sister, May. At the age of 21, she was studying medical rehabilitation in college.
那天我跟妈妈一起上街。
On September 21st, 2014, she accompanied her parents to go shopping. It was that day that terrorists struck.
在步行街那头，上就蹦迪一声就我倒下了。
Şundaq yölsem qaz balının putanda yata turdu. Özüm uxmadım şundağa qarab qutquzgan adam boy balam nima bo'ldi deb özüm uxmay qaldım.
抬头一看就看到了腿在那边，小腿在那边。
May's amputation required 2 operations.
Sancıdan falan. Sancıdan falan çıdmaydım falan. Sapır falan ne kapkası. Bektas kilitki adam ne dişini ötmek.
Lazajay, who took part in the attack, was also caught in the explosion. She lost her right leg and arm. Lazajay and May were in the same hospital.
Siz aşı gazap kısak cennetlik kirgil oldu diyen gepki qandaq işinip qalgansız. Aştaq boldu dep işinemsiz.
Kalayım kankası. Herkesin bir günah adam tesersin. Buna da kendine de yolum olmakça Allah'ın. Yani buna tek esip gitmesine evet. Yok olacak sebepçi olmazlar. Rezil olmadan tek futbolun eğilip kalmazlar. Evet kılın.
In the chaos of violence, no one is safe, not even the attackers. On July 31st, 2011, terrorists slashed passers-by in Kashgar, killing 6 people. The terrorist in the video fell to the ground and was injured when he detonated the explosive device. He was then slashed by his own nephew, Ahmed.
Ular terörlük qilish jarayonida elim ig'ir yalinibgan. O'g'lim uni o'ltiribdi. Uning o'ylig'ini billa jannatga billa jannatga kirish bo'lgan bo'lishi mumkin. U asabiy dinining ta'siriga cho'nqir chiqib, urug' tuqqanlik mehrdan kechib, bizlarga ig'ir azoblarni ilib keldi.
For extremists, anyone can be a target. On July 30th, 2014, the chief imam at Kashgar's main mosque was stabbed to death. Juma Tayyir was also the deputy president of the Xinjiang Islamic Association. Other imams have also faced violence in the region. In 1996, Awuna Aji, also the Edgar Mosque, survived an attack on his way to prayers.
Düşmanım yoktu. Ben 55 yıl dine hizmet kıldım. Halk mendil razı oldu. Hoş oldu. Hiçbir kişi hakkı etmez.
Lekin vaqtda men shu o'ltirmaslik bo'lmaydi deb dinga osiylik qilgan, biz dini murtadlarni tazimsak dinimiz isloh bo'lmaydi. Shunga cho'qim o'ltirib o'tishimiz kerak.
他们就觉得我们要把这个宗教界的有威望的、有水平的这些人要消灭掉以后，然后对他们反抗的人是没有的，然后他们才能得到他自己的阴谋，才能得到自己的策划的这个目的。
As the main battlefield of China's counterterrorism, the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region has implemented its laws on de-radicalization and counterterrorism. These laws aim to eliminate terrorism from the roots.
恐怖主义和极端主义呢，现在越来越一体化了。利用一些宗教认同或者民族认同来宣扬它的极端主义理论的话，那么呢，它的迷惑性、蛊惑性以及煽动性呢，就可以通过这种呢，极端主义的外衣，那么 很容易呢就是吸引到一些呢青少年加入到他的恐怖活动的行列之中。
宗教极端主义的一种泛滥，在这种情况下绑架了伊斯兰教。
The human cost is huge. For some, the wounds never heal. This is the southern town of Salikbuya, struck by a deadly attack in 2013. For Uyghur community official Hawagu Abdulian, this is a routine visit at the largest bazaar in southern Xinjiang. Salikbuya is home to some 50,000 people. Most are Uyghurs. Hawagu was posted here after the violent attack 6 years ago. She's maintained vigilance against terrorism ever since.
Biz her günü men şu her günü hizmetini kanat eyduğa vaqtımda ahalilarga tushib ziyorat qilish orqali asosan tashviqotni asos qilib ommaga tashviqot xizmatini yaxshi ishlab undan muhim nuqta qilib yoshlarninki ishga urilish nisbatini yuqori ko'tarish uchun ishsiz yoshlarninki kasbiy jihatdan tarbiyalab ularga bo'lgan tashviqotni yaxshi qilib.
The violence in 2013 took the lives of 15 police officers and community staff. 6 of the attackers were shot dead and another 8 were captured. This community staff member, who doesn't want to be named, says she went to the scene and saw her colleagues among the victims. Some were pregnant women. She was outraged. The senseless killings deepened her hatred for the murderers. Extremism has cast a long shadow over Salikbuya. It's destroyed families, and the wounds run deep. Today, Hawagu is paying a visit to the mother of one victim. 79-year-old Ushhan Wiley lost her son, a security staff member. Tayer Ahed was 35. He left behind a wife and 2 children.
Şu bal boğan bolsam hazır hem böyle noş balını böyle uqtışqa. İnaq itbaq ötüşke. Emme yaşınıp qalğandikin tapılaydıgan gibim şuttu. Bu balağımı.
Öyle başka qiyinchilik
Wushuhan says she hates violence, but nothing can bring back her son. She hopes he did not die in vain and that Salikbuya will enjoy peace. Terrorism has killed hundreds in Xinjiang in recent years. China says the East Turkestan Islamic movement is behind the unrest. Many say the reasons are complicated. Xinjiang has been subject to frequent extremist activities over the past years. The government says those terrorist attacks do not represent any ethnic group or religion. And the fight against terrorism is not an ethnic or a religious problem, but a long-term effort to safeguard unity.
极端主义成为了呢恐怖主义的重要的核心，也就是说呢，成为支撑它的一个内核。真正的去除呢极端化，这才是从根源上产出的呢恐怖主义所赖以生存的最为核心的要素。
只要这个宗教极端思想在，它就有可能刺激这个刺激暴恐。所以说，我们说要根除宗教极端思想，可能是控制暴恐的这个最有效方式和最根本的方式。
Hawagu says most religious extremists are young people, usually unemployed, who have been radicalized. They include Ahmed Hashim's nephew, Mehmet. He took part in the violence and was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Mehmet's uncle has no idea why his nephew got involved and says young people need support.
Yaş baldına şunda kanunsuz dini hareketliğe kanunsuz bunda işlerge alıp kalmaslıqına şu ticaretine özünki şu nimiz boyunca qilib yolu boyunca mektep 5 kilo olsa o'qib bilmelib şu yurtimizniki muqimligi xotirjamlik uchun kuch chiqish umid qilib. Bu vaqt shunda voqeaning yurtimiz chiqib qolganligidan shu echindim. Shuni muqimsizlik omilining elib kelganligidan o'zim norozi oldum.
Locals say the majority of Uyghurs have been smeared by a very small number of radicals.
Meningcha hamda layoqatli bir musulmon o'zining e'tiqodidan boshqa davlatning muqimligi, millatlar ittifoqligini, ondan jamiyatning taraqqiyotini, ondan o'zining shu yurtining gullanishi, iqtisodi uchun cho'qim bir kishilik to'p qo'shish kerak deb o'ylayman.
Hawagu says you can't tell a terrorist by his or her face, so you need to get to know people. The violence has changed her life and her views on the fight against terrorism. Hawagu says the real challenge is to keep watching, believing that even one woman can make a difference. Tiananmen Square in the capital Beijing is the political symbol of China. It also became a target for terrorists. On October 28, 2013, an SUV rammed through barricades in front of the gate tower and burst into flames. The attack killed 2 civilians and wounded over 40. The driver and the 2 passengers all died. The authorities soon declared the incident a terrorist attack. They said it was not an isolated incident outside Xinjiang, and that it marked a new phase of terrorist violence in China. Police identified the driver as Islamic. In recovered selfie videos, Islamic burns national flags of a dozen countries. Before the Tiananmen attack, the group swore so-called jihad on a barren hill on the outskirts of Urumqi. Police also detained the other 5 members involved in the attack. They include the couple Hushur and Tohotinias.
Bütün dünya tanınıp gidiyordu. Beijing'in Tiananmen'in adını kısak. Tiananmen'in Cumhur'un payitahtı olan bir gün şey kısak bütün dünya tanındı. Bize yaşadık. Kitimiz emimiz. Bıraklar.
When this couple signed on, they left their 6-year-old son and 2-year-old daughter at home. They sold all their possessions in preparation.
车买了，手里还有存的钱吗？
没有。
那给不给孩子留什么东西？
没有。既然已经到那个地方了，就下定决心。那个时候我想，我自己不会杀人，拿刀也拿不起来，我对自己没有信心做那样子的事情。但是我唯一做的是坐在车里，把车子爆炸了。
Tohotinia says she was convinced that they could enter paradise by killing.
Adam kayacak olsa şunun ya çanaş ya partisi çok kalsa sen Müslüman gelsen mevcut ettu sen Uygur gelsen mevcut ettu o dinimiz var o desek vakit biz iş kılamayız.
وبعثرهم حطام هاجم وقاتل
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله.
Soon after the Tiananmen attack, in a clip obtained by a monitoring organization, a radical Islamic group claimed responsibility and warned of future attacks in the Chinese capital.
Beijing Tiananmen meydanida mashina fidoilik amaliyoti olib berishga muvaffaq bo'ldi. Allohning izni bilan bu jihodiy amaliyot tirisiga sig'mayotgan takabbur Xitoy hokimiyatini qattiq vahimaga soldi.
Chinese authorities have blamed the East Turkestan Islamic Movement, or ETIM, a shadowy Xinjiang-based group with ostensible ties to Al-Qaeda. Some Western media don't believe it and point a finger at China's hardline policies. But Chinese police say they have clear evidence that the incident is linked with the separatist forces outside Xinjiang, which advocate the use of violence. The police investigation provided deeper insight into what have been the roads to radicalism.
Bizim vaski maqsadımız ölüp ketiş, ölüp ketsek cennet görmez dep oylap qaqa iş faaliyyatlığı üçün emmisi. Sonra güvancı kitsek ya güvancı kurallık kısım bağlılık üçün hücum qilgandan keyin bizni o'q chiqarib cho'qin biz şeyde ölüp ketimiz, ölüp ketsek şehit olamiz dep degan ko'z qarash bilan şeyga hücum qilishni bilib deb shayxishgan.
Nurg'un mashadiki hamda sharoblarni ichkilik olmaydi, ichmayapmiz. Edik sharoblarni ichsima, mazmun qilmaydigan odamning badaniga talab chiqsima, xuddi mushtaq shunday xushbiroq attarlar botirmanda endi. Shu attarlarning purg'i o'xshaydi.
70 urug' tuqqunga jannat ahlidan qila oladi. Bir er 70 ayolga o'lina oladi.
Most killers, though claiming to be loyal to Islam, have very little knowledge of the Quran.
Dinning tarixining qanchalik bo'lganligini bilamsiz?
Yo'q, bilmayman.
Jihadning ma'nosi nima?
Jihadning ma'nosini aytmayman.
Musulmonlar qilishga tegishli 5 farzni bilamsiz?
Bilmayman. Qilmasak jannatga chiqa olmaydi. Deb shu Qur'onniki ichib so'zlagandan keyin o'z gapiga endi bizni boshlig'imiz aytgan gapi kishimizda albatta
qo'lga debdi. Bunda kumallanib baxmabdi ki, men shularning dini to'g'ri olsaydi deb.
Amriga itoat qilish beramiz. Shu amriga osiylik qilsak, Alloh taolaning oyatlarini, hukmlarini inkor qilgan bo'lamiz.
Amerika mesela yaqinda bir davlatga o'zimning aqidasini qo'g'dashga qarta endi qanday harakat bo'lsam qilimi to'g'ri.
Mush ishlarga otlangan jihadni to'g'ri deb ko'zqarashda bo'lg'achqa.
To achieve their purposes, the extremist forces deliberately distorted religious teachings. Typically, they describe the jihad of the Quran as a holy war against infidels. The Quran is the key source of guidance for billions of believers. Many scholars say the correct understanding of the Quran, especially the word jihad, is crucial. Killing civilians can be justified by Islam.
فكلمة الجهاد كلمة صحيحة في دين الإسلام، لكن لأنها مرتبطة بكلمة الإيمان، والإيمان مرتبط بكلمة معرفة الله سبحانه وتعالى.
So that was crystal clear that Muslims should try to establish justice through all possible peaceful means. And if this happens, then Allah is opening no way for them to fight.
إنك تؤمن بالله معناها إن أنت تعترف بوجود شيء لا تراه ولا تسمعه ولا تحسه بأحاسيسك البشرية، ولذلك هذا يعتبر جهاد، إنك تكافح داخل نفسك لكي تعرف الله عز وجل. فرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تحدث على كلمة الجهاد ليس بمعنى حمل السلاح، ولكن أهم حاجة إنك تجاهد من داخل نفسك وتسارع نفسك لكي تبعد عنك الشيطان وترى وتؤمن بالله سبحانه وتعالى.
伊斯兰教主张就是和平， 伊斯兰教的这个名字也就是和平词。像这样的情况下，和平是我们教的名字，我们教就是和平，穆斯林就是主张和平的人。宗教它不是极端，极端也不是宗教，反而宗教是反对极端的。从这个看来，宗教和极端是无关的。
فللأسف هناك المغردين الذين يحاولوا أن يشوهوا صورة الإسلام بأنهم يستخدموا هذا اللفظ في غير معناه. الإسلام ليس دين العنصرية والتطرف، ولكن بعض الناس تستخدم لفظ الإسلام لكي تفي بأغراضها الغير إسلامية.
History shows a recurring threat of separatism. At the turn of the 20th century, separatist and religious extremists inside and outside China called on all ethnic groups who spoke Turkic languages and believed in Islam to join in creating the theocratic state, which they called East Turkestan. They spread the misconceptions that Uyghurs were the only masters of Xinjiang, that the Uyghur cultures of Xinjiang were not Chinese culture, and that Islam was the only religion practiced in Xinjiang. They clamored for opposition to all ethnic groups other than Turks and for the annihilation of infidels. Such instigation has led to constant violence and terrorism in Xinjiang. Experts say many young people are brainwashed with the ideal of so-called jihad, which encouraged them to die for their belief in order to enter paradise. Many followers no longer possess a mind of their own. Mernisa was a university student. She says after she got in touch with a group of extremists and watched jihad videos, she decided to join them.
Бурунну мен алгы мектептим шкыл зерикши сыят болгон экен. Онунга окутулуп. Эгер биз муштак жахат кылып өлмөсөк, у дүйнөгө болгондолку анда бизге ар хил ар түрлүк азаплар деп мага коркунуч ичимге бир коркунуч силип койду. Мени коркутты аш кеп сөзлөр аркылуу.
Mernisa took part in the attack on December 15, 2013 in Shufu County, Kashgar, in which 2 policemen were killed. Police have also confiscated a large number of violent audio and video materials. Authorities say the recruitment usually begins online. But who directs them and how is a question that requires more time and effort to discover.
实质上呢，就是说视频的一些极端思想的传播，包括呢暴恐音视频的观看，都对他们的恐怖袭击活动呢起着一个驱使和催化的作用。
The authorities believe that since 1990, there have been new developments in terrorism which have posed some of the biggest dangers in China. They include new tactics, target selection, geographic reach, and international connections. Recent reports have revealed that there are hundreds of Chinese fighters in Syria, and some jihadists have brought their war home to Xinjiang. This is what happened as early as 1989 after the Soviet-Afghan War.
I'm witness to the fact that a number of Muslims from China's province of Xinjiang, the Uyghurs, they also ended up in those training camps and they were trained as jihadists. So when the war ended in 1989, some of them went back, but most of them were not de-indoctrinated and they were used as tools.
China is doing everything it can to ensure security. In the border areas of the autonomous region, eyes are wide open for signs. What worries the government is the link between terrorism and outside forces. So much of the threat is beyond China's reach. In the wake of the attacks on the US, the self-styled East Turkestan forces stepped up their collaboration as terrorism and extremism spread. There has been a surge of terrorist attacks all across the world. And Xinjiang has been a target, with many terrorist training centers hidden in the region. In May 1998, in the Black Mountain area of Aksu, the police found one of these camps. They refused to surrender and eventually detonated their bombs. Police say most training centers are linked to the East Turkestan Islamic movement, which advocates independence for Xinjiang. In 2015, while investigating attacks in Baicheng County, police found voice messages on suspects' mobile phones. A foreign extremist group was directing them to conduct a so-called jihad.
Hem bizning mushu birodarlar jihad qiziqtirgan jihatning fazilati haqida va tabliğlarni bir yo'llab turishinglarni. Sizlarga bayroqni yo'llab turib qarindishim. Bir bay'at e'lon qilib bayroqni chiqarib shuni yasash imkoniyati bo'lsa bayroqni yasab shu bayroq oldida niqob holatda bir kichkina gap so'z qilib bir yo'llasanglar.
The recording revealed that foreign extremists were remotely controlling their actions, teaching them how to evade reconnaissance and attack helicopters. Numerous sources have confirmed that the East Turkestan Islamic movement has close contact with the terrorist groups. Leading ETIM member Rosie described their encounters with Osama bin Laden in 1997.
Biz bizlarga bilan mujohid kurashganda to'dadan bilib kurashdik. Biz aniqlar o'sha o'zimizniki bunday bir tashkilot qurmoqchi bo'lganligimizni ayni vaqtda deyotgan Sharq Turkiston Islom Jumhuriyati qurishdagi bir harakatniki vujudga kelish uchun bulardan yordam berishni biz o'sha musulmonlarimizda talab o'tirib. Birinchidan shu bolalarni yana nima qilsa o'zini mashq bozorida mashq qilib bersa alayda odatdagi mashq emas.
Intelligence sources say since its founding, the ETIM has made Xinjiang the primary target of its attacks. With the help of Al-Qaeda, the ETIM recruited terrorists and religious extremists in Xinjiang. The recruits were sent to war zones for so-called battlefield practice before returning to China.
Biraz koral yarak, kandak şilteş, partlatış bölümden kandak şilteş, mümkün nazari dersler.
Bazı adam ölüp mü gidiyor? Demek çenekişin ağırlığın.
Sources have also confirmed that the East Turkestan Islamic movement has a policy of using children to achieve its goals, like blowing up model Chinese police cars. In September 2002, the East Turkestan Islamic movement was designated a terrorist organization by the United Nations. On June 6, 2012, the police came to investigate a residential building in Hotan City. Fearing being found, one suspect detonated the explosives inside. A suspect jumped from the 5th floor with a 4-year-old child. Both died. Other suspects set off more explosives to hinder the police rescue operation. Firefighters rescued 53 children from this 80-square-meter room. The oldest was 13, and the youngest only 4. These children were all students of a so-called madrasa. Mamatusan had sent both of his children to this school. They had both physical training and religious studies every day.
Onunda bizdek balalarning badan məşq qılatqan, mollaq etib yəbigirlab degəndək andikimə çoğlarının da qural tutub elib kendi tuğan suretlergen tuğan suret ma chatning filmi gen tuğ ma bizim Uygurca mesken tuğam bek düşənməyəndə o vaxt səndə. Lakin o vəlqə cihad degen gepni uqan isimdə.
我们正在研究孩子的时候，这些暴恐分子不顾着这些孩子的生命安全，他们的一点人性都没有，他的思想里面全部是jihad的，为了这个jihad的不顾这个50多个孩子的生命。
Extremism has changed the way people live.
Ben burun bankaga pul qo'ysa haram, pul qarz olsa haram, ayollarni sirtqa chiqib ishlasa haram, topgan puli haram degandek tabliğlarni anglab, men bankada pul qo'ymaydigan, qarz olmaydigan, ayolimni sirtqa chiqib ishligini qo'ymaydigan.
Sazchas yomon bo'ladi. Nag'ma qilish yomon bo'ladi. Dabchas yomon bo'ladi, naychas yomon bo'ladi, nag'irchas yomon bo'ladi.
İşte bir qıtımda özüm yaqtırıp kiydiğim bir qısqa yanlı kiyimini kiyip mağa vaxtımda yolda birisi minimdaq kiyim kiyse bu kiyimin bulmaptı dep işte dep ayıplab ketken. Şunda açqım kelgen bolsun lekin gap qaytarolmagan. Şu vaqtlarda vaziyat shunda bo'lg'achqa men ona gap qaytaram.
Endi diniy zatlan qatadimi? Aşında yüksek sözünü dep uylanmaytında yig'lasangni bo'lmaydi deb uylamga chirishdan burun chimay turib yig'lashmasin, ani yaxshi chirilmaydigan.
Experts say terrorism is a global threat and no country can win the war against terrorism on its own.
But we have to learn from each other, and I've noticed that China has tried to learn also from the United Nations practices, from the European Union practices, and even the United States practices.
China is building up its countermeasures, including international cooperation like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization or SCO. The SCO holds regular military drills in member states for troop readiness in evacuating civilians and fighting terrorists.
The basic aim of Shanghai Cooperation was to pool our resources, our intelligence resources, our experiences, and the way we have tackled with terrorism so far, and plan actions and policies and strategies so that terrorism does not prevail. And I think this is a very healthy sign. Most of the members, we have carried out joint exercises to combat terrorism.
The priority of the Chinese government is prevention. This includes the establishment of vocational education and training centers.
在那个地方，第一个我们就说3学1去，就是要给他学法律法规。首先，他要知道他自己的活动空间在哪里。第二个要学文化。然后第三个要学国语，要56个民族全部要团结，紧密的团结。团结首先要沟通，就这些事情在那个地方3学，目的就是要去极端思想。
我们就跟这个扶贫和这个就业和这个基本国民素质培养相结合，应该说是一种符合中国国情的这种一种模式。所以我觉得从这个角度来看，我们应该坚信自己的方向的正确性。
The authorities say the purpose is to curb attacks and to stamp out the breeding ground and spread of terrorism. Scrutiny by some Western countries has been constant. But according to the white paper, no terrorist incidents have occurred in Xinjiang for nearly 3 years since the education and training started.
Burunqi vaqtda 10 yilning oldidagi qalayimqanchilikda sayohatchilik faqat yo'qdi. Hozir bo'lib shu 2 yilning vaziyat tuzganingizda Hazır soğudan pek yakşı, seyahatçılığım köklep kilovatıda.
我希望我们的新疆变得更加美好，快乐的时候跳舞，高兴的时候唱歌。
现在呢，咱们新疆的各民族的兄弟姐妹们在这块土地上生活的都非常安稳、和谐。我希望就是之前的那几年的暴恐案件都再不要发生了，然后让我们可以继续安稳、安定的在这块土地上继续愉快的生活。
我说的幸福，第一个就是他的心安了，才是真正的幸福。我觉得心安不心安，对他人的生活的这个周围环境、社会安，然后他的心才是安。所以呢，我说现在才是真正的幸福。
There is no one picture of Xinjiang. Its image is largely decided by how you see it and by whom you talk to. And Xinjiang has so much to offer. The complexity of extremism and terrorism make it hard to tell Xinjiang stories. What is happening there is a test of China's counter-terrorism measures. It's also a showcase of China's commitment to long-term stability and security in Xinjiang.